Hey there, how's it going? Today I'm reviewing the SE Electronics V7 microphone. I'm gonna give a brief overview of like everything about it. This video is more for somebody that doesn't know anything about audio, which is okay because everybody starts at some level, and I think this video is for people that really don't know anything and want to get into streaming but don't want to use a USB microphone, want to get more of a professional setup. So to get started, this is the SE Electronics V7. Like I said, it's what's considered a handheld dynamic microphone. There are really two very popular microphones that most people use, either a handheld or a dynamic microphone or a condenser microphone. The difference being, if you these are generalities. Generally speaking, a dynamic microphone is not going to pick up as much noise around you, and you have to get more up close. It also usually requires more gain, which is the amount of volume you have to turn up to make it work. Condenser microphones require a thing called 48 volts of power, so it actually needs power to start it, and it's more sensitive, so it can pick up more noise around the room, and it is a little more detailed or in the higher end, which means like it's a little more catches a little more information in the higher end, in the like treble end, like if somebody sings higher parts of your voice. So yeah, this is a handheld dynamic microphone, so it's one that is really good at rejecting. I don't have a lot of what's called treatment, which is like you put up the foam you see people have in like studios to basically suck the noise out so it's not bouncing off from the walls and making it sound like I'm in a hallway. So there is some I can hear a little bit, and somebody that has some good headphones on can probably hear a little bit in the room, but it's not too much to deal with in that sense, but it's tolerable. So some people don't want to sound like they're in a hallway, so that's why this is a really good choice for something like that. If you don't have a lot of treatment, in the future, if you want more, and then you can get a condenser. But it also helps out if you're doing a lot of keyboard clicky. It won't pick it up as much. I mean, it still might pick up a little bit, but you can't. What can you do? So this microphone, the other reason why it's really good at rejecting all the noise around is it actually has. So there's many different types of what's called polar patterns or pickup patterns, which is where the microphone actually picks up the noise. So I'm talking into it right here, and you can see me getting really up close to it. So it kicks up a little better. I'm talking from the side right now. But basically, this microphone's pickup pattern, or where it picks up the noise, is really narrow. So most of them have what's called a cardioid polar pattern. You'll hear that a lot. It's usually more of a heart-shaped pattern, so you can't hear it in the back, but it kind of hears it around the microphone. This one's a super cardioid, which doesn't make it any better or worse. So it just means it's more narrow, so it doesn't pick up very well on the sides, as you can see here. How the volume dropped quite significantly, and then you can see how it picks up really like profound in the front. So that's really the benefit. The downside is like you can't move around a lot. Like if you're going like this and that and back and forth, it really doesn't help much because that's gonna really kind of mess up. So you have to kind of be a little bit more stationary with it, which is okay. I mean, that's how some microphones are. I mean, most people get condensers or microphones to like, but that's if they have better treatment. So I like it because it does have that super cardioid, so it's really good at rejecting that noise. The downside about this microphone is it does bad with plosives. What plosives are the pa and ba and ta, the sounds that come out of your mouth that basically make puffs of air, is plosives. Even with this, what's called a pop filter, which is like an extra layer of protection to disperse the air, it still almost can sometimes pop like puh, 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 puh. I don't know if it popped it. Hopefully it did for you guys to kind of show what that sounds like. It's almost, I don't know how to, when you hear it, you really can't unhear it. The other thing is it kind of can get a little bit of what's handling noise. Like you'll hear a little bit of rumble. Like you can hear when I tap it, like that has that sort of resident noise. So that's why I have this. It's a shock mount to try to keep it a little more. I also like that it looks a little more professional with having it on than rather just a little holder. The other thing is uh this microphone requires a little bit more gain, so it can be what gain is the volume on. You're going to need an audio interface, which is turning the signal from digital or analog to digital, but you're going to need the volume on it turned up higher than you would a condenser. This usually isn't a problem for like even the really cheap stuff. Like there's one called Focusrite Solo. Even you can get them used for really cheap, and these will power it. But you might get what's called line noise or self noise, just a little bit of hum or hiss. If you're editing videos, you can take that out. If you're not editing live streaming, most people don't really notice it unless they're really like listening. But if you have like music or game in the background, it really doesn't make a difference. Nobody will ever know that it's even there. But yeah, you do, just to let you know, you do need a little bit more gain on it. The good things, like I said about this, is it has that super polar pattern. It's dynamic, so it does a better job rejecting background noise. And then I just think it looks good on on camera. I think it's I like the black and the red. It looks, a little bit more professional, like you know what you're doing. And everybody wants to look like they know what they're doing on stream, regardless if they do or don't know what they're doing. um but that's just how I think that everybody acts. The one thing though is I want to show you what this sounds like though when you have a lot of good processing done to it. So you can, if you get the shock mount, the pop filter, this thing's called a boom arm, which is kind of like move it around. Audio interface, and if you want to get even more to, you could get like a cloud lifter or a preamp, which is just giving you more volume, so you don't have to. Might that little hiss noise might be a little less because it'll be more cleaner gain is what they call it, which is basically just let less little line noise. You can get one of those, and then if you want to go even farther and spend a little bit more money, you can get a vocal processor. A really starter one, which I have cheap. You can get them cheap for like 100, sometimes 150 used. There is a DBX286S. What it does is it has different processing. It's not complicated. Well, it might be a little overwhelming at first, but once you watch a few videos, it's a lot less complicated than more professional ones. But with that, it has different processing things on it. So I want to show you how I have it set up to where, the microphone sounds good now, but I want to show you what it sounds like when you actually use this with all the other things. And you could do this in real time and when you're streaming, and then it could adjust it on the fly and it would make it sound so much better. First, I put on what's called a high pass filter. It makes it so my low voice is a little less low and takes off some of like rumble or something. If I'm moving this boom arm a little more, you won't hear as much of the taps and stuff and moving and the rustling noise. And then the last thing is adding all the different EQ, compression, de-esser, and the noise gate, and then you got yourself like a full blown process signal, which sounds way professional. And so this is it with fully processed with all the stuff. It's going to have a little bit more gain because of the compression, but you can just hear my voice a little bit more deeper, pops a little bit more, and it just sounds finished. It sounds like broadcasty, which is kind of how I like it. And I think this is a perfect setup. So if you have any other questions, feel free to leave a comment, but I'll just give you kind of a good overview of this microphone. And, if you're thinking about getting it, what other stuff you need. And then I'm always willing to help if you guys need help setting it up.